can tell Hanoka's not in Moda'in, so yeah, that doesn't look
No,
a thing like your place.
no, it doesn't look, no, not at all. So it's wrapping up at least this segment in Brandon, Florida. You know, it's really kind of a tour guide buddy of mine in Israel was in touch. He needed some information about a tour operator that we both had worked for. So he said, "So, world traveler, where are you now?" So I said, "Well, I'm in Brandon, Florida." Then I put in parentheses Tampa because I say Brandon. People say, "Do you mean Bradenton?" I
Yeah,
said, "No,
yeah,
I mean Brandon."
yeah.
Anyway,
I know, I know.
so he said, "Oh, Florida, such gorgeous weather. What's it like for you?" I said, "It's not so gorgeous." I said, "Yesterday morning was 37 degrees." So I forget I'm talking to a friend in Israel. It's like, God, it's so hot. It's like, no, not Celsius, buddy, Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So it's been a little colder than I thought.
Right.
But hey,
Well,
life goes on.
yeah, there you go. And the thing is that even though you're a little closer, the internet connection is not much better than it is in Moda'in sometimes. You're heading over to the
Oh,
Temple Conference in Orlando this weekend?
yes, yeah. I'll be there by this afternoon.
Oh,
Conference goes from Thursday through Sunday. And then on Monday, I head up to Franklin, North Carolina.
imagine that. Imagine that. The height of your trip.
Yeah,
Okay, so I
yeah, pretty
guess
fun.
let's I guess we can quit talking about where you're going to
Yes,
be and what's going on in Israel. Have you you're keeping up with the news?
yeah. I mean, throughout the day, it's interesting. In Israel, I had gotten into the pattern. I think I'd shared this with you before of literally every time I have a break, checking the news. Uh, um, and what's interesting is it's been a whole week administration. All their heads were blowing on union. The world didn't come to an end when Minister Ben Gvir went up to the Harabayit, the Temple
Yeah,
Mount, for 13 minutes. Um, it's just the same backdoor politicking.
yeah,
We have a new IDF chief of staff. Um, and it's interesting. There's always these articles and sort of insights as to how this one will differ than the previous one, because it's really the IDF chief of staff that makes all the decisions relating to what tactics, what wars we should prepare for, what are the strategic threats. And it's basically, there are not a lot of surprises.
yeah,
You've got the issues of technologies, you've got the issues of drones, which the Iranians use extensively. You've got Iran. Do we eventually bomb them? What would it look like? What would it mean? So there's a lot of that going on. At the same time, the left-leaning folks in Israel, call them leftists. It's so funny. We use the terms left and right in
yeah,
Israel in a demeaning, degrading, demonizing way. In the same way in the U.S., you're like, she's a liberal, he's an ultra conservative. What is an ultra, like uber conservative? What does that even mean? But everyone loves to label things,
yeah.
because that way you can put it in that little box up on the shelf
Right.
that you have for that, which is really silly, really, really silly. Anyway, so life goes on. An attempted terrorist attack here, an attempted terrorist attack there. One thing that was very interesting, caught my eye, major article in the Jerusalem Post a couple of days ago. Tourism is like off the charts.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah.
You read the article, though, they're talking about external tourists. They're talking about Israelis leaving the country
Mm.
in record numbers to travel. That's not the same thing as visitors coming into Israel bringing business.
Yeah,
And I was astounded by the article because it just seemed to be like, like you want to like knock on someone's head saying, guys, what were you thinking? And of course, every time we have a minister of tourism, and I don't even remember his name, he's irrelevant.
yeah.
Like we're gonna, do this and we're gonna have to come to Israel.
You're cutting out quite a bit today. We'll try to get through this how we can. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, if there's a department or ministry in Israel, and I find it kind of fascinating that they call these ministries. I mean, is it's just ironic to me. But if there is a ministry in Israel that is pretty much irrelevant, it is the Ministry of Tourism. These people really need to figure out what their job is, because out of the 20 something years that I've been going there, I've never seen them do anything really that has helped me out along the way.
Well, no, no, they don't think on that level. They look for like, big, it's like, it's like someone does a major research study, hires a very expensive consulting firm, and figures out that Northern Europeans want beach vacations. So, with the Ramon Airport close to Eilat, there, all of a sudden it's like, they have these cheap excursions,
Hmm.
again, let's say for Northern Europeans, and it's like it's not, they're going to a lot to so that's great for the hotels and restaurants in a lot. For the rest of the country, it doesn't matter.
No.
It's and what's interesting is as I go around from congregation and group one after the other, I once again encounter all rationale, all the excuses of why people aren't going to Israel.
Yeah.
And I can truly understand if someone says to me, I cannot afford to go this year. But what I cannot understand, and I have no tolerance for whatsoever, is if I ask people, are you still saving in your Israel fund? And I get a blank look.
Yeah.
For 9 years, I've been traveling around America telling everyone to start an Israel fund. Even if it's $5 a week, in 9 years, they could have accumulated a lot of money.
Yeah. I find it
And
interesting.
when you say to people,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, just simply, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I was teaching on this week's Torah portion, which is of course the was the second Torah portion of the book of Shemot, or as you would probably call it, Exodus. Just to, throw that in there. But
Uh-huh.
I figured out something, Hanok, that we at Pesach we talk about the four I wills of I will free you, I will take you, I will be your God, I will bring you. But actually
Yes.
it's there's five here. The last one is I will give it to you as your inheritance. So he's saying in this Torah portion, not only am I going to bring you into the land, but I'm going to give you the land. And and I know we've talked about this so many times through the years. I don't know any answers any more than you do, but this disconnect from the land of Israel would kind of like be you have a loved one, and they pass away, and there's the reading of the will and testament, and and they give you an inheritance, and you look at the attorney and say, well, I don't want it.
It's fabulous that you mention this. because just the other day I stumbled upon a statistic that really startled me. Rabbinic sources teach us that 80% of the children of Israel that were in slavery in Egypt did not leave.
Yeah.
4/5, 80%. Let's fast forward. Babylonian exile, 586 before the Common Era. It's believed that 95% of the Jews in Babylon stayed in Babylon and never returned to. Now, remember, this is only 70 years after the destruction of the first temple.
Yeah.
But this person threw in another statistic and said at some point, someone will say 99.95% of American Jews never went on Aliyah.
Wow.
So it's every once in a while, someone will say to me, because they'll ask, what congregations do you speak at? I said, anyone that invites me. Yeah. I've got little discernment. Anyone that invites me. I said, what about, and I like when people say this, what about Jewish synagogues? And I love that Jewish synagogue opposed to the, I don't know, whatever kind of synagogue. So I said, I don't have connections in the Jewish community in America, but if I did, I'm not sure what I would speak about. It's you can't, and you know this much better than I, you cannot deliver don't want to hear it.
Yeah. That is it. You cannot, you cannot, if somebody doesn't want to hear something, it doesn't matter how many times you say it different. They're still not going to want to hear it. I'm thinking that if you could go to, if you get an invitation to Reform synagogue, maybe you could talk to them about, not eating shrimp and pork. I mean, it'd be a place to start, right?
And that's the thing that's funny. Yeah. It's let me just say it's worse than ever before.
That's crazy. It is.
Or the average American Jew who doesn't belong to a community.
Yeah, that's true. So, Hanok, we're having a terrible time on connections. I hope we got something through to people on this one, but the good news is next week on our broadcast, we're going to be able to maybe put a little bit extra in because you'll be right here in the other room, and we know we'll have a better connection. So, but this one is jumping out all over the place. So take care. Have a great time at the Temple Conference, and we'll see you soon, man.
Okay, bye-bye.